I wasn't supposed to come back to New Orleans. Not after what I did. Not after what those songs cost me. You ever notice how a city can remember you even when you're trying to forget it? The minute my cab turned off the I-10 and hit Basin Street, the air started humming, like the city itself whispering, "She's back." I could smell the wet brass from last night's rain, the crawfish boil rolling out of someone's backyard, the ghosts of trumpets that used to chase the moon down Bourbon Street. My name's Loretta May DuPont, though once upon a time the posters just said L.M. Dupree, the golden voice of Basin Street. That was 42 years ago. These days, folks only recognize me when the light hits my face a certain way and they tilt their heads, squinting, like they almost remember a song but can't recall the tune. I came back because of a letter. No return address, just 3 words scrawled across yellowed paper. "It's time, Loretta." I knew that handwriting. Lord help me, I did. The hotel clerk didn't know me. That's a mercy. I didn't want recognition, didn't want pity, didn't want questions. I just needed a room with a window that faced the quarter and a lock that worked. My suitcase was heavy not because of clothes, but because of what sat at the bottom wrapped in faded satin. A leather-bound manuscript, edges curled, ink still smelling faintly of bourbon and smoke. My forbidden songs. They weren't written in sheet music, not really. They were confessions disguised as melody, every bar carrying something I wasn't supposed to tell. Back in the 70s, I called them my shadow set. The record men called them dangerous. And one night somebody died because of them. The first night back I couldn't sleep. The city breathed through the window screen. Laughter, saxophone scales, streetcars clanging like distant church bells. I poured a little whiskey. Cheap kind, nothing like the good stuff they used to hand me in crystal glasses. And opened the manuscript. Page 1 still read. The song of the second line, for Eddie. Closed it quick. Couldn't yet. Instead I looked out the window at a neon sign flickering, "Jazz Tonight." And for a second I swear I heard my younger self, 22, red dress tight, voice silk and smoke, laughing from inside that club. She was still alive somewhere in that echo. And that's when the whisper came, soft as a cymbal brush. "You ready to pay the debt, baby girl?" I first met Eddie Boudreau at the Blue Magnolia back in '68. He played trumpet like he'd made a deal with the devil and got the better end of it. We made music that could set fire to the bayou. Him blowing thunder, me singing the lightning right behind it. Folks said we were dangerous together. They were right. See, the forbidden songs weren't about politics, not really. They were about truth. Truth about love that crossed lines we weren't supposed to cross. Truth about promises that white record men made to colored musicians and broke before sunrise. Truth about how one night, a mobster came looking for a tune that didn't belong to him, and Eddie refused to hand it over. Next morning, they found his trumpet floating in the Mississippi. Not Eddie, just the horn. And I disappeared. Took the train north with nothing but guilt and that leather book full of songs nobody should ever sing again. Now, 42 years later, that same river smell still rides the air. I came back because whoever sent that letter must have known I still had the manuscript. Maybe they wanted it. Maybe they wanted me. At dawn I walked down to Jackson Square. The street musicians were warming up, chasing tips from tourists sipping beignet. A boy, couldn't have been more than 20, was blowing trumpet like he'd been born doing it. The sound hit me right in the chest. For a heartbeat, it was Eddie again, alive, calling me home. The boy caught me staring. "You all right, ma'am?" he said. "Just fine, baby," I lied. "Just fine." He smiled, teeth bright against skin the color of café au lait. "You used to sing, didn't you?" Blinked. "How you know that?" "Your eyes," he said. "They listen to music." Almost cried right there. That night I went to the old Blue Magnolia. It's a restaurant now. Fancy, quiet tables where the stage used to be. The owner, a woman my age, recognized me. Her jaw dropped. "Lord have mercy," she whispered. "Loretta May. You still alive?" "Barely," I said. She hugged me anyway. Smelled of gardenias and gumbo. "They still talk about you, you know. The night the power cut, the fire, the man who—" "Don't," I stopped her. "Not tonight." She nodded, poured me coffee, no charge. You come back to sing. I looked at the empty stage where my life had burned down. Maybe to confess. At midnight, I returned to my room and spread the manuscript across the bed. Each song title looked like a gravestone. Eddie's Lament, Basin Street Prayer, The Devil's Waltz. I started humming, soft at first, then louder, until the walls began to remember the tune. And somewhere outside, far off but clear, a trumpet answered. Froze. Couldn't be. I went to the window. The street below was empty, just mist rolling from the river and the echo of that horn fading slow, like a heartbeat trying to stop. When I turned back, one page of the manuscript had flipped itself open. It read, "Play the last song and the truth will come." I fell to my knees right there, clutching that cursed book to my chest. "Eddie," I whispered, "what did we do?" The next morning, I walked the quarter like a woman walking through a memory she wasn't sure she wanted to relive. The sunlight hit the wrought iron balconies, bouncing off peeling paint and faded signs. I could almost hear the voices of the past. My own laughter, Eddie's trumpet, the murmurs of the crowds who had once lined up for a taste of the music only we could make. I stopped at Jackson Square. Street musicians were tuning, saxophones catching the sun, drums rattling like a heartbeat. And there he was, the boy I'd glimpsed the night before, blowing into a trumpet with a kind of reckless abandon only youth can give. I didn't move. Couldn't. My chest tightened, and for a second, the 40 years of absence collapsed into one note. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked, wiping sweat from his brow. I blinked, startled. Yes, just fine. You used to sing here, didn't you?" His eyes were sharp. I shook my head, forcing a laugh that sounded brittle even to me. "Used to." He studied me, as if he could see the ghosts hanging around my shoulders. "Your eyes. They listened to music." Something cracked inside me. Tears I hadn't expected slipped down my cheeks. "I wish they would forget," I whispered. That afternoon I went back to the Blue Magnolia. The club had been converted into a quiet restaurant, but the stage was still there. Its wood scarred, its lights dimmed. Celeste, the owner, recognized me immediately. "Loretta May DuPont," she breathed, clutching her apron. I thought. I didn't think anyone alive would. I raised a hand. "Don't. Not tonight." She nodded, leading me to a corner table. I could smell the gumbo, the roux rich and dark like melted chocolate. It reminded me of home, of family kitchens, of nights when music and food mingled and life felt limitless. "They still talk about you, you know," Celeste said. "The night the power cut, the fire, the man who—" "Stop," I said sharply. The memories were jagged, raw. She nodded, a knowing look in her eyes. The next night, I walked along the Mississippi, manuscript in hand. I whispered the songs under my breath, hoping they would carry me, hoping they would protect me. And in that moment, I realized the manuscript wasn't just music. It was truth. Every note, every lyric, every forbidden word. Truth I had buried with Eddie. Truth that had haunted me in dreams and empty rooms. But truth comes at a cost. I had learned that the hard way. And now, 42 years later, it was ready to demand its price again. I returned to the Blue Magnolia one last time. The building was empty, silent except for the faint creak of its old wood floorboards. Dust covered the stage, but the memories of my voice, Eddie's trumpet, the nights we had set the city on fire, they lingered like ghosts. I placed the manuscript on the piano and opened it. Each song held a memory I had buried with care. My hands shook as I ran them across the pages, feeling decades of love, betrayal, and fear pressed between the lines. I began to sing, low at first, trembling. Each note brought the past closer, each word a haunting whisper. The city seemed to respond. The shutters rattled, a loose sign swung against the wall, and somewhere, faint but unmistakable, a trumpet answered me. The man from the cafe appeared, the one who had watched me, the one who knew all the secrets. His eyes glimmered in the dim light, dangerous, knowing. "You can't stop now," he said. "The city sent you back. The songs demand it." "I didn't ask for this," I whispered. I've carried these songs for 42 years. I've paid enough. No, he said. You haven't paid yet. The trumpet played again, louder, more urgent. My voice joined it, trembling, soaring, breaking. The songs that had haunted me, that had been my escape and my burden, now poured out into the empty room, into the city streets, into the river. I sang the last song, the forbidden one. And as I reached the final note, the floorboards trembled. A shadow swept across the stage. The air grew heavy, and then silence. I woke up by the Mississippi, manuscript in pieces, scattered by the wind. My throat burned, my arms ached, and the city around me was quiet, too quiet. Somewhere upstream, I could hear a trumpet fading into the distance. Eddie's song, my song, the truth finally released. I had survived, but the city had marked me. The manuscript was gone, carried away by the river's dark waters. The price had been paid, but I would never be the same. Some secrets, some confessions, some truths demand a life left haunted, and mine would echo with the music forever. Some nights, I hear the trumpet in my dreams, the forbidden melodies drifting through fog and shadow. Sometimes I feel the weight of the manuscript press against my chest, though I know it no longer exists. I know now that some truths do not belong to one person. They belong to time, to memory, to the river, to the city itself. I survived the reckoning, but the price was etched into me. I am a woman who has sung for love and lost it, who has kept secrets and paid for them, who has returned home to a city that never forgets. I am Loretta May DuPont, and I am haunted, and maybe that is the way it should be. Because some songs, some secrets, some confessions are never meant to leave a person unscarred. They are meant to echo forever